has been living alone in her house for years after leaving the orphanage as soon as she turned 18. Her uncle placed her in the orphanage after her parents died in a car accident due to his wife's pressure and her refusal to live with Amelia and her parents in the same house. Amelia and her friend Jack have been working together in a photography studio for years. Ever since they left the orphanage, they agreed to work together and became very close, constantly discussing their life matters. They often worked until late hours of the night. Jack would sleep in the studio until morning to save on rent, while Amelia would walk home alone every day, as the photography studio was close to her house. One day, Amelia finished her work and headed home at night. As she walked down her street, she noticed a red light emanating intermittently and continuously from the windows of one of the houses, which caught her attention. She stopped for a few minutes, then continued on her way. The next day, at her usual departure time, she passed the same house and the light scene repeated, confirming to her that it was something worth investigating. This made her decide to knock on the door and ask about the reason for the light the following night. When she told her friend Jack the story, he advised her, preoccupied with the photos in his hands, "It's none of our business, Amelia. Let's focus on our work only." Amelia nodded in agreement, and they continued working. That same night, Amelia passed by the house at almost the same time, seeing the same red light emanating from it. On the window, a woman in her 20s gestured to her from afar, whom Amelia could not ignore. When Amelia cautiously approached her, the woman pleaded in a low voice and told her that she wanted to speak to her from behind the door. Amelia hesitated greatly before putting her ear to the door. The woman, distressed, said to her, "Please help me break the door. My husband is not home now." Amelia was surprised and asked her why. Crying, the woman told her that she had been married for 3 months and had moved to this house with her husband. Since then, he had been beating her, cutting off all means of communication, locking the doors on her, and not allowing her to go out throughout his absence from the house. Amelia asked her, "What should I do now?" The woman, crying, said, "Please help me break the house door so I can escape, as my husband has gone out and won't return for at least half an hour." Amelia initially refused, but the woman's desperate plea and heartbroken crying made her take out her phone and prepare to call the police to break the door. However, the woman screamed and stopped her, saying they had no time for that. Amelia put her phone back and started looking for a tool to help her break the door as quickly as possible. He found a piece of iron lying in the garden, took it, and began hitting the door lock with it until she succeeded in breaking it. The woman was happy and misled Amelia, telling her she would go to her room just to get her belongings. However, she returned with a white cloth, which she placed over Amelia's nose and mouth until Amelia lost consciousness. Amelia woke up to find herself lying on the ground with pain she didn't know the source of, almost tearing her apart. She looked at her abdomen and found it covered in gauze and blood, which terrified her and made her scream with all her might despite her weakness. She then looked around, searching for her phone to call someone for help, but she couldn't find it. Meanwhile, she struggled, crawling on the ground to reach someone who could help her. Throughout that time, she kept asking herself what had happened, especially since she remembered nothing except being inside that house to help the woman. After about half an hour of trying to reach someone, a person driving his vehicle on the main road saw her. He stopped and took her to the nearest hospital. Upon her arrival, doctors discovered that one of her kidneys had been surgically removed. She collapsed upon hearing this, and investigations began. Amelia gave her statement and told them about that house. When the police forces arrived at the house, they found nothing upon raiding it. Meanwhile, Amelia asked the hospital administration to call her friend Jack to tell him what had happened, as he was the closest person to her. After learning what had befallen his lifelong friend, He rushed to check on her. He kept asking her what happened until she told him what she remembered. She remained receiving treatment in the hospital for 2 weeks, until she improved slightly and returned home. During that time, the police were searching for any evidence that would lead them to the perpetrator who trafficked human organs. Throughout Amelia's illness, her close friend Jack was the one who cared for her and visited her constantly. One day, while they were working together, Amelia began recalling the painful details of the incident with her friend Jack. She then remembered a detail she had not told the police, which could help them in the investigation: her being found lying in front of her house after the incident. How did the person who stole her kidney know her house to leave her in front of it? At this point, the world went dark before Amelia's eyes, and she asked Jack to leave urgently. About an hour later, Amelia returned to the studio accompanied by police officers. They arrested Jack and took him to the police station. After interrogating him and pressuring him, he confessed to his agreement with a gang that trafficked human organs whom he had recently met. They planned to steal Amelia's kidney after they asked him to suggest someone in exchange for a large sum of money. He had no one but Amelia, who lived alone without family or support. This is what made him conspire with the gang to stage the abused woman's act to ensnare their new victim. Amelia collapsed upon hearing Jack's statement. She was a girl who had not only lost her parents and one of her organs, but also her childhood friend. From that day on, she lost her trust in all people